Hey Racer fans, thanks for joining us. Our weekly look back at the tough guys, the great cars, the great races in open wheel history. Eddie Sachs Jr. turned 54 a couple days ago, so I thought it was appropriate we talk about his father, Eddie Sachs, today. Now, Jr. was only 2 years old when his dad lost his life in the 1964 Indy 500. But if you read Denny Miller's book, The Clown Prince of Racing, go to Dick Wallen's videos, some of his old books, it kind of gives you an idea of what a good race driver this guy was. Now, he was called the Clown Prince of Racing because he had such a gregarious personality. He used to march down the straightaway with the Gordon Pipers, leading them. He'd get on the Speedway PA system and interview drivers like Jim Hurtubise after Herc broke his track record in 1960. He was always available for interviews. He was a great after-dinner speaker. He played the piano at the White Front 2 or 3 nights a week. He never met a microphone he didn't like. And if he'd had social media, if Sachs was around today with social media, he'd have 10 Facebook pages, he'd be on Twitter 24 hours a day, and he'd have his own radio and TV show. There's no doubt about it. Now, I got to watch him race at the Hoosier 100 a couple times, obviously at the Speedway in the early 60s. I got his autograph. I didn't know him. I was only 14, 15 years old. So, to find out how good this guy was, you go right to the source, Anthony Joseph Foyt Jr. I asked AJ one day, I said, AJ, anybody out there that just jumps out as being kind of underappreciated as a driver? He goes, yeah, Paul Goldsmith and Eddie Sachs. He said, everybody talked about Sachs, being a clown and being funny and cutting up and all that. He goes, let me tell you something. That guy was a hell of a race driver. He said he didn't know the front end of the car from the rear end. He didn't have any idea how to set up a car, but he drove the wheels off of it. And he was a fierce competitor and a clean race driver. And Foyt, I mean, that's high praise from Anthony Joseph Foyt. So where'd Sachs come from? Comes from Pennsylvania, starts running sprint cars, comes back, I think it was 55 or 56, trying to take his Indy 500 rookie test, spins out in his rookie test. They told him to go get more experience. Well, instead of going home with his tail tucked between his legs, he stayed at the Speedway washing cars in Gasoline Alley and washing dishes at the Speedway restaurant because he wanted to stay at the Speedway and just soak up the atmosphere and get to know people. Well, he wins he comes back and starts winning sprint car races on the high banks. He starts second in 1957 in Indy. 58 he's the USAC Midwest Sprint Car Championship. By 1960, Clint Bronner's hired him to run the Dean Van Line's car because he's impressed watching this guy run the high banks. Well, in 60 he leads 22, 23 laps. The Magneto blows after he wins the pole. 61 he wins. He's with 20, I think with 15 laps to go. He's got a 25-second lead because AJ Foyt had to pit in this car to get fuel. Well, with 3 laps to go, Sachs pulls in. His right rear tire is losing the tread, so he's worried about not making it. So he finishes second. AJ wins, and that's what a lot of people remember him for is the 61 race. But what you got to remember is this guy won 8 champ car races, Trenton 3 times, the Hoosier 100 a couple times, and he was good on pavement or dirt. And like I said, he was loquacious. He was always talking, and he got his buddy Parnelli Jones mad at him in 63 after he spun. And he kept calling Parnelli Parnoily, so Parnelli finally smacked him. And then this great picture, he's got the black flag in his mouth, and you can see, I think his eyes a little puffy. And Parnelli always said he regretted hitting him because Eddie was a good guy, but he said he just kind of pushed me too far. But I think the thing with Sachs is everybody's got an Eddie Sachs story that knew him. And if you read Denny's book, The Clown Prince of Racing, you'll see why the guy was so beloved. All I know is he had this spirit and this determination to make it as an Indy 500 driver, and not only did he make it, I mean, he went from 27th to 3rd one year. He should have won it in 61. He came close in 60 before it blew up. I mean, this guy made a hell of a racing career started out as kind of a guy that wasn't going to make it because spun out taking his rookie test, and nobody really took him very serious until he got in a race car. So, check it out. Amazon's got that book, Dick Wallen's old videos. Look at Eddie Sachs, the Clown Prince of Racing. This is Robert Miller from RACER.com.